There's another one you don't want to hear. Frankly, they do I.
1, 2, 3, set, go.
You're tuned into the Power Chord Hour right here on 107.9 WRFA and on the Power Chord Hour podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and today on the show, I'm talking to Dylan Flynn, who runs the Pass the Bass campaign, which Dylan does to bring awareness and help those with brain injuries. We actually had Dylan on, one of our very first guests. I don't remember what number guest Dylan was, but we're talking like, I want to say like in the first 5 guests we ever had on. We had him on back in April 2017, and it has just been too long. I'm very happy to welcome him back on the show. We're going to catch up with Dylan, hear about what's going on with his amazing Pass the Bass campaign, and everything we've missed in the last 5 years. I feel like there's a lot to talk about here. So Dylan, man, how are you?
Not too shabby. It feels like this campaign's definitely progressing, and things are definitely moving in the right direction.
I gotta say, man, like to like give a quick little backstory. Like when I had you on the first time, I was introduced to you in the campaign when you were at the Menzinger show for After the Party tour back in 2017 in Cleveland, and you know, obviously you did your thing up there. You told everyone what was going on. You were selling shirts afterwards. And I mean, you were doing a lot at that point, but I feel like just following you the last 5 years, like, yeah, I feel like you've done a lot of cool things then. I feel like you've surpassed it. I feel like you've been doing so much the last 5 years and even just lately. Like, so I mean, that's probably a good place to start. Do you want to like catch us up? Like, what have you been up to the campaign lately? I feel like for what I've been seeing, you've been doing a decent amount in 2022. Like, Pass the Bass has already had quite an eventful 2022 from what I can tell.
Yeah, unfortunately, with excuse my language, damn virus, there was pretty much nothing for 16 months. No shows, which is the primary source for the money I raise. But as you stated, the first handful of months, well, I mean, the biggest thing, I met a woman named Danny at a golf tournament last year. Kevin Lyman runs an annual Duffing for Dollars golf tournament in California. And last year was the first time I sold there. And I met 2 friends of his from Colorado. And they own a venue just outside of Fort Collins. And this woman seems to be 100% on board with the campaign. She helped fly me out to Denver and go to Fort Collins, pick me up for a ride. She philanthropically paid for my hotel for a night. I sold at her venue and met a great woman who owns a Harley Davidson dealership in Fort Collins. And that woman has a brother who suffered a brain injury. She very generously made a $2,000 donation.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, and Danny herself made a $2,500 donation.
Nice.
There was about 6 months last year where I raised over $10,000, and that was a pretty eventful time. But yeah, as you stated, just the past handful of months, being reached out to by some guys working with Bass Player Magazine, doing an interview. I'm really looking forward to this article they put together.
That's going in Bass Player Magazine?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Congrats on that.
The editor said it should be coming out in a couple months. I was hoping, I threw out the possibility, hoping that the campaign could be the focus of the cover. But yeah, I think that's wishful thinking. He said something about potentially small little mention of it, small letters on the cover, but that's still better than nothing.
Oh, that'd still be pretty neat.
But at Kevin's tournament this year, the Fat Mike from NoFX and Eric, the drummer, were at the tournament along with their tour manager. And the tour manager gave me some contact information. And he's invited me to sell at a few shows. Going to Sacramento tomorrow to prepare to sell at a show on Saturday for Fat Records. Or no, Punk and Droplet. I get the two confused. They're both NoFX
same
stuff.
thing, basically.
Yeah, Punk and Droplet. Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. And I've been invited to 4 of their shows, but I think I'm going to skip the show in Detroit. Having a festival in Cleveland I've been invited to. I think I'll just go to 3 of the Punk and Droplet shows and then try and focus on spreading the word more locally. But as you said, yeah, this lady Danny's put together a nice calendar and Kevin Lyman's helped out with that. I feel wishful thinking, fingers crossed, by the end of the summer, this could become something significantly bigger.
Oh man, I am absolutely rooting for you, and that is awesome to hear how much stuff you have going on right now, including, you're right. I guess I hadn't thought of it so much, but yeah, the last couple of years, because yeah, for what you do, you get the word out at shows. I feel like that's your bread and butter. That's how I learned about you. I feel like that's how most people learn about Pass the Bass, is going to a show and you're there, doing your thing. So yeah, the last couple of years probably had to be rough, but it's nice to really come back in full force. That is an impressive list of people to be on your side for sure. And include, that Bass Player magazine thing. Congrats. Huge congrats to you on that. And that would be amazing to see it on the cover. But whatever capacity you're in there, that is really, really cool. So let's now that we're talking about it a little, for people who don't know about it, let's talk about the campaign. You want to tell us a little bit about Pass the Bass campaign? Take us, how you started it, why you started it, all of that. You want to educate us on Pass the Bass for those who don't know yet about this great thing you do?
So I got my first bass guitar when I was 15. 5 months later, I suffered a traumatic brain injury. The neurological damage, I'm not really able to play. 37 now, I started Pass the Bass 7 years ago. I'm getting bassists to play mine while selling merchandise, somewhat online, but for the most part at concerts. And the proceeds go to the Brain Injury Association of America.
Nice. Do you remember the first person who you had sign it or play it?
Well, the first bassist to play it actually played it before I started the campaign, and that was Chris 2 with Anti-Flag.
Oh, nice. Was that any inspiration to start it when he played it? Did that have anything to do with the beginning of Pass the Bass?
Actually, it never came to I never came to the conclusion that I should start this campaign. The one friend that I'm still in touch with from high school actually came up with the idea and suggested it to me. And that, like I said, that was 7 years ago, and I've just been running with it since.
That is absolutely amazing. And you, like I know now you're in Ohio, correct? You do it basically out of Ohio. That's kind of like your hub. I know you go around, but that's kind of like your main spot is going to shows in Ohio.
Well, I was here for 4 years and Denver for 2, and now I've been back here for a year. With due to seizures, I am not able to drive right now. I had my neurosurgery back in December, and it looks like, fingers crossed, I'll have my license in a few weeks, I mean. But in the so that's 16 months I've been back here. I think I've gone to 2 concerts in Ohio. I mean, I've done a lot of traveling. This Punk and Droplet on Saturday will be the first show I've gone to in California in the past couple years. I've gone to lots in Denver and Fort Collins, to Vegas and to Chicago. I mean, the traveling is definitely picked up with this, which during this last Zoom meeting with Kevin and a couple other people talking about the campaign, they are kind of opposed to the paying the expenses of traveling, which I think can be justified, but at the same time, it takes money to make money. So the more people who know about this, the better. I mean, I think for Kevin's golf tournament last year, I spent $300 more on the trip than I actually raised at the tournament, which at the time was pretty disappointing. But I met this lady, Danny, in Fort Collins, who ended up making a $2,500 donation, and I raised like $5,000 in 2 nights thanks to her. So hypothetically, if I do spend more on a trip, fingers crossed I'll meet some other people like her who will be definitely interested in, if not financially helping out, maybe they could just get me in touch with someone who they think could help spread the word.
Yeah, I mean, in a situation too like that, like you're just talking about not making as much as it costs you to like get out there and everything. It is nice, at least the silver lining in there, yeah, of meeting Danny and kind of meeting, I guess that's the trade off there. Is that one is like you didn't make the money, but you kind of met the people who kind of like can help push it along. Because that, for one, that is really amazing that you're going all around the country now and doing this. Because I think maybe you'd done a little again, because we're going back 5 years, and like when I when I knew of the campaign and when I saw you and stuff, I think you were basically Ohio. I don't think you'd gotten to that point yet. So I mean, kudos.
No, I went to, back then I'd probably done some shows in I can never remember the name of the town, somewhere in Kentucky, just outside of Cincinnati. But yeah, it was all within a short driving distance back then. And yeah, now I've flown to California. This will be the fourth time I've flown to California to promote this on tomorrow now. Denver a few times. Chicago. I think somebody talked to me about going out to sell at a show in Denver in June, trying to set that up. And can't remember the name of Chris Evans. Or no, wait, Chris Evans. It's not Chris Evans, it's Chris Akins.
Chris Akins.
Yeah.
That one doesn't sound familiar. Now I'm not sure.
Yeah, Chris Akins with Strung Out.
Oh, Strung Out. Oh, duh. Yeah, Strung Out. I know. Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about now. I've seen him play bass many a times live.
Yeah, I met him for the first time at a Riot Fest in Chicago, and that was back when this campaign had just started. I'm not even sure if I don't even think I had my bass at that show, but I kind of talked to him about it, and then somehow I got in touch with him or maybe a guy that actually works with the band, and we were able to set it up for him to play my bass for the last couple songs of the set. And yeah, he invited me to go out to Seattle, which, I mean, there have been a few invitations that I have turned down, and looking back, I think I would have taken them up on it if I could. The biggest one being I was invited to sell at a Flogging Molly show in San Diego maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And yeah, I didn't do that. But if I could go back, I definitely would have done that.
Yeah, that definitely would have been neat. But I also get it because, like we were talking about a minute ago, with you do have to get to these places too, so the expenses and everything. I'm sure you got to think about that and go, even if you're invited, can I get there on time? Do I have, like whatever? There's a lot behind the scenes, I feel like, in getting to do that than just getting on a plane and flying there. There's a lot to put together, I'm sure, to go sell at a show and do this kind of stuff. Potential
delays or cancellations of a flight would definitely, yeah. But I mean, this show, the Punk and Droplet, I mean, it's got some pretty big bands other than NoFX. Oh gosh, I really wish I had a better memory.
I think did you say the Ohio one you're going to? You're going to be doing the Ohio ones?
I'm going to be doing the Cleveland one. I think that's in July.
I want to say the Suicide Machines and the Menzingers, I believe, are on that one. And I'm trying to think of the other ones. Obviously, NoFX, Suicide Machines, Menzingers, and yeah.
I don't think I saw the Menzingers.
I think that's like the only one they're playing. They are playing a date on Punk and Droplet, and I want to say if it's not that one, it's one of the other Ohio ones they're playing. But I'm almost certain the Menzingers are just playing one. I think
that's the only Ohio one.
Oh, okay. Then I'm almost certain they're playing that show. I'm almost certain that they're playing it. Suicide Machines, for sure they are. I do know that. I will say with certainty the Suicide Machines will be there.
I think I actually looked at that earlier and saw that. Their bassist played mine once at a Warped Tour. I think it was a Warped Tour in actually I'm not sure. I'm going back and forth. But anyways, yeah, their bassist played mine. Never been able to sell at any shows of theirs. I think that's actually the only time I've ever seen them. They've got, I mean, some of their old music, and I mean, when it comes down to it, I feel kind of like a jerk. Most of these bands helping me out, I'm really not familiar with that at all. But, I mean, my crappy memory from my injury, I mean, I look at it like if it's not broke, don't fix it. So the only three bands that I would honestly call myself a fan of are NoFX, Alkaline Trio, and Anti-Flag.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to this tour manager for NoFX. Has been a great guy. We've been emailing back and forth. He arranged it. I mean, paying to bring a freaking giant box of 70 shirts on a flight, I bet you that could cost $100.
Oh, easily.
And the tour manager was able to set it up so I could just mail it to the venue, and they gave me a call and said that it's there. And mailing it from the company that makes the shirts only costs $10. So that definitely saved me a significant amount of money. But I mean, I'm having them on board. They're probably, I mean, I think they're coming up on their 40th anniversary. So they've been around a long time.
I'm not. You know what? That sounds about right. 40 years sounds. I would say that's about right.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's when they quote unquote started, but they hadn't actually really accomplished or maybe even played yet. They might have set that as a date of starting in their garage or whatever.
Oh yeah. But, years before like a full length or something came out.
But yeah, so I think that these people could be again going back to the not traveling. It's a big thing to just make connections with these people, make a good impression, get to know them, let them get to know me, and then be able to reach out to them from time to time when they're touring near, or, I mean, maybe make a good enough impression that they'll give me the contact information of somebody else who would be on board. So establishing connections with this is a real big thing. But, yeah, so I actually just pulled it up. It says, NoFX, Frank Turner and the Sleeping Souls, the Menzingers, Suicide Machines, the Bronx, and Pet Needs.
Yeah, a nice lineup there.
Pet Needs is the only one I would say I've never heard of.
I haven't, if I'm being honest, I've not either. The other ones I've heard of. I'm sure they're great though. All the other bands, that's a nice lineup. I'm sure they're good as well.
Yeah, the Menzingers let me sell that show in
Cleveland.
Yeah, at the House of Blues.
You know what's amazing about that too is their bass player played. I remember it was Irish Goodbyes, which is like it's like a rarity. Like it's not on an album or anything. It's like on a compilation. It's not a super well-known song, and it's one of my favorite Menzinger songs. So like I had to go buy a shirt from you after, because I'm like, not only is he up there playing your bass, he's playing a song I didn't even think they were going to play, and like my favorite Menzinger song. So that was pretty cool to see my favorite Menzinger song played on that beautiful bass of yours. It was very cool.
I have a number for one of them. I don't know if he changed it. He hasn't responded to it. I don't text him very often, very, very rarely. But I've sent him a few texts over the past years and got no responses. Trying to set up promoting at another show of theirs, but that just hasn't been able to come through. So now that you mentioned it, I'll definitely be looking forward to selling at that show. I wonder, do you know the date of that?
Not off the top of my head.
July 8th.
Oh, July 8th?
So that's 2 months.
Yeah, you're about 2 months away. Yeah, because we're only a few days from May 8th. So, yeah, you're looking at like almost exactly 2 months away.
Yeah, I've talked to Frank Turner a couple times. I think the first time I met him was on the first Salty Dog cruise I went on with Flogging Molly. And then I think I sold it a show of his, but I could be wrong. I definitely talked to him at another local show. And, I was kind of disappointed. He told me that I'd be able to sell at a show in Cincinnati. I drove down there and wasn't able to get in. So that was kind of frustrating.
Geez. Yeah, that's a bummer.
I think that's happened more than once. But
if it makes you feel better, I feel like it's just like I've been told I'll be on the guest list for something, and then you drive there and you're not on the guest list. You just drove like 2 hours.
Yeah, but still, I'd rather do it and find out I'm not in than no, I am in and not do it.
And not go. That makes total sense. That makes a lot of sense. It's it is like I feel like building it again, like you've it's cool all these things happening for you, but it's like you've put in the time and effort. I mean, you've been doing it now for a very long time. You go to these shows, you spread the word, you do what you have to do. Even again, sometimes you go to these shows, you don't make as much as it costs to get you there. Sometimes you go to the shows, something falls through or whatever. So a lot of that hard work, it seems like, is paying off now, which is really nice. Again, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the first half of the year's been so strong for you. I'm excited to see how you end 2022 with the campaign, because again,
and it's only the first third of the year.
Yeah, you still have the rest of the year. Like we're just getting into summer festivals now. Like that's just start. You're going tomorrow. We're just getting into that season, which I feel like festivals. I feel like is what you really. I feel like festivals would be a great place for you, and I'm sure they have. Obviously, you've done them before.
I'd say the only actual festival I've done was that punk rock bowling last year, and that was, it was Vegas. Even in late September, it was just too damn hot.
Oh my god, I can imagine.
But I was, up until then, I think I'd only raised over $1,000 at one show. That was the very first Flogging Molly show I'd ever promoted at. And all 3 days of punk rock bowling, I raised over $1,000 for like a total of something over $3,500. So that was a very, very pleasant time. But yeah, so the 3 local festivals I've been invited to, Wonderbus, Wonderstruck, and I can't remember the name of the one in Indianapolis, Wonder something. But I'm really looking forward to those. Cleveland and Indianapolis are 2-day shows, and then Wonderbus here in Columbus is 3 days. So I think that definitely has the potential to raise 7 days just selling merchandise. And I'm probably going to have to make a real big order in preparation for that. And I did, this lady, Danny from Fort Collins, who's helping me out, generously loaned me some money. I just placed the biggest order I've ever made in the 7 years of this.
Nice.
And Danny very generously loaned me the money for it. But fingers crossed. I think I ordered like 320 shirts or something in this past order.
Nice.
And I sent 70 to Sacramento. Fingers crossed I sell all of them. Well, I'm just bringing a backpack. Don't want to have to pay any damn fees for
Oh, for the
luggage.
Yeah, that stuff gets
So,
expensive.
yeah, it would be free on the flight I'm taking there, but on the
Oh, on the way back, you'd have to pay.
return flight, I'd have to pay for a suitcase. So yeah, I mean, it's like a 6 hour, 7 hour show, and I've been told that I'll have time on stage to promote this.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I mean, the last year was the first punk and drum book I ever promoted at in Denver, and the opening band, when I got in, I just had a vendor wristband, and I talked to a local bassist from Denver that played the show, was the opening band. He ended up getting me an all access pass, which I was
Nice.
very, very grateful for. And completely blanking on the name of the band, but they gave me a few minutes to promote the campaign, either before or sometime taking a break during their set. But I mean, when it's an opening band, especially for a 6 hour show, there's definitely not going to be as many people there as for when the bigger name bands come.
Oh,
So, yeah. I mean, I'll talk to them and hopefully get possibly 2 times on stage to promote. But even if it's just like, I don't know, say halfway through is definitely better than opening band. And I mean, 7 years, I bet I would say when you met me, it was, and I don't know if this was apparent, but back then this really wasn't easy for me. There have been lots of shows where I just stand at my table and wait for people to come up and talk to me about what I have and what I'm doing. But on that Flogging Molly cruise, I was able to sell on a couple years ago. And it was a lot easier on a cruise not having to talk over the damn loud speakers. I mean, in the little dining area, I'm just walking up to stranger after stranger asking if I could sit down with them at their table and give them a little spiel about the campaign. But I've definitely been doing that a lot more, and that's definitely been a big benefit. If people know who I am, what I'm doing, I'm going to raise more money than if I just stand there and hope they come to me.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I remember buying a shirt from you at the Menzinger show, and to be honest, I don't remember if you had a table or not, and maybe you were like away from the table, but like I feel like you were mingling with everyone, like really just doing that, like telling everyone about the campaign who might have missed it or let people know more about it. Like I thought it was great. I ended up sitting there chatting with you for a little while, bought a shirt and stuff, like, and that does seem like the best way to do it because I feel like it's personable. Like people remember that. You know, like I'll always remember that. I'll be like, hey, I got to hang out with you for a couple minutes after, talk about the campaign and all that stuff. So yeah, I feel like that's a good way, that kind of grassroots, like get in there, and including for a festival, I don't think you'll have a problem selling all those shirts, and I don't think you'll have a problem kind of going around and finding people who are taking a break from the music or just wandering around or whatever, like passing the word on and stuff. I think you're doing it right that way. when it comes to like I did want to ask you, like when it does come to like getting up on stage, talking about it and all that, I mean, what is that like, getting on stage, kind of talk about stuff? Do you enjoy doing that? Is it nerve-wracking?
I mean, like I've said, it's April, so it's been a year and a month since I started this. And I mean, baby steps. I feel like I've gotten this down to a T, what I want to do and say. Unfortunately, I think mostly attributed to the brain injury. Sometimes I forget what I want to say, or I just mess up what I'm trying to say. But I mean, I've said most of this so many times, it's pretty much ground in there. And I mean, it's been so I was able to 4 times on the Flogging Molly cruise. Let's see, the Bouncing Souls had let me.
Nice.
Warp Tour. I mean, I've done this at lots of shows. I would say mostly smaller shows. I definitely appreciated Chuck Reagan letting me get on stage for a couple minutes.
Oh, that's amazing.
I mean, and I do wish I had a better memory. Some pretty big band shows have given me 2 or 3 minutes. And yeah, it's pretty ground in there, what I'm trying to say. I feel like I'm definitely getting the point across, and there have actually been a few times, once at a show here in Columbus, I'm standing at the table after the show. I had maybe 2 minutes on stage, and one woman just came up, and instead of buying any merchandise, she complimented me on my humor, which, I mean, that's definitely appreciated. I would definitely rather have her compliment me than say, that wasn't funny at all. But at the same time, I'd have rather had her say, that's not funny, and buy a shirt. Unfortunately, she didn't buy anything.
Oh, she only gave, I thought she bought a shirt too. Only gave you a compliment, no shirt.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah. But I mean, still, the more I do this, it's still baby steps in the right direction. And I think now with Kevin and Danny, and back when I lived here before I moved to Denver, he didn't live here, or it might have been a different guy who was the vice president for the Brain Injury Association that I donate to. But the man who's the vice president now lives here in Columbus.
Oh, really?
And we've been able to get together a few times. He took part in the Zoom meeting with me and Danny and Kevin, and yeah, that's definitely been making things a little more progress, a little easier. I mean, like I said, step by step, but one thing I say to a lot of people is I feel like a chicken with its head, wings, and legs cut off.
Oh,
I'm just a blob hoping to roll in the right direction.
You did. You ran right into Kevin Lyman.
Yeah, and I mean, he's definitely been a big help. And I mean, so I had the neurosurgery just before Christmas. And maybe 2 weeks after, he sends me a text asking me how I'm doing, which I couldn't help but appreciate that. This pretty well-known gentleman in music.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's...
Little thing called the Warp Tour. You might have heard of it.
And I mean, for a long time, I just had a Facebook page. I'm not sure how long ago. I wouldn't have said it was this long, but looking at recently, it looks like I might have actually started it a couple years ago. That seems off to me, but that could be my bad memory.
I want to say you have. I think you had it maybe even last time you were on the show. I want to say you had the Facebook page. Maybe I'm wrong. But
No. Did I? I mean Instagram.
You did not. You did not have that last time.
Yeah. And maybe 5 months ago, or I don't know, somewhere a handful of months ago, out of nowhere, for the first time, I see Kevin Lyman like a post. Nice. And after the surgery, he sends a message on Instagram saying wishing for the best or something like that. So yeah, he's definitely a good guy. And NoFX posted that I'll be at this show on Saturday and some other shows, and they actually have their official page, and then I can't think of what it's called, NoFX, I think something crew, and that's who's been posting about me being at these shows. But I saw that NoFX actually liked the post, so nice. Yeah, I mean I have the Eric, the guitarist's phone number, and stay in touch with him from time to time. He's been a great guy. I mean, having connections with some of these people, I think, could definitely, fingers crossed, turn it into something substantially bigger. I mean, the whole goal is just to raise money and help others going through situations similar to what I have.
No, I think I mean, for one, what you do is, I mean, again, really great. I love the campaign. I think it's awesome that you've stuck it out this long too. Like, again, I feel like now you're seeing it all, kind of your hard work is coming together with all this, because again, you got punk rock royalty on your side, man. I mean, you're like naming off some of the biggest names in punk rock who seem like want to help you and help spread the word on the campaign, which is awesome, and I'm happy to see it and everything too. So no, I think you're in the right direction, man. I think you're starting to see the efforts kind of pay off of the last 7-8 years, because that's amazing. I mean, I've been talking. I had John 5 years ago, so you've been doing it a while, but like even you just saying you've been doing it as long as you have is like crazy to really think about. I mean, and that's just me. I'm sure I'm not the one doing it. I'm sure you think of that and go like, wow, have I really been doing it that long already?
Yeah, I mean, time passes, but yeah, I mean, 7 years, it's pretty interesting, surprising, scary that much time has passed. But I mean, like you've said, with it becoming bigger, once I went to the first Punk and Droplet show I went to was in Denver 3 summers ago, and they didn't have actual passes for all access, or maybe some people had them, but I got a wristband that was all access. And yeah, so I get in there with my wristband, and one of the ladies working the show said it just got me. There were like, it was at Red Rocks outside of Denver.
Oh, I love that place.
And they have like a closer section, and the lady working the venue said that, yeah, that just gets you to the closer seating, which I automatically was a little disappointed with. and then I'm sitting there and I look around and nobody else has the same color wristband as me. So I went up and talked to one of the guys working the stage, and he's like, yeah, that gets you all access. So yeah, I'm like, I wish, because all access, I got to be eating this great food under the stage.
Catering.
But since the lady told me it wasn't, I paid like $10 for something that I wouldn't have if she had known. But I guess they just changed the color of the wristbands. I mean, they were surprised. Like they looked in a little booklet, and the color wristband I had, they wasn't even in the booklet.
You were so ahead of your time. They weren't even ready for it.
But I mean, it was at that show. So that's coming up on 3 years ago.
Wow.
I was backstage talking to some people. I talked to a lady, just started to give her the little synopsis of the campaign, to which she responded something to the effect of, everyone knows about passive bass. And I was like, really? But then just in January, a few months ago, I chatted with a guy for the first time on Facebook. When I sent him a message just asking how he was doing, his response was passive bass. So I said, I take you're aware of the campaign. And he said, you're semi-famous. And I'm like, really? I mean, I couldn't care less if anyone else got 100% of the credit for this. I just want to raise some money to help individuals struggling with brain injuries, and I definitely won't turn down the free shows.
No, not at all. It's cool. It's cool to hear you get some recognition and stuff. It is well deserved, man. I mean, you really work hard on this thing, and you took an idea and really ran with it. I mean, I think it's you don't see anything like it. That was even when I met you and stuff, wanted you on the first time, is like, there's campaigns, and I mean, there's different things, but like, I feel like yours is quite original. Like, there's nothing out there that I can think of that I'd go like, oh, like that's like Pass the Bass. There's just not. It's Dylan Flynn with Pass the Bass. And that, you know what I mean? Like, that's that. There isn't another one. It's all you, man. It is all you. But we've talked. I'll give you a few more here, and then I'll let you go. But we've been talking about people who you have worked with and all that. I want to ask you, because I asked you this last time, and I want to see if it's changed at all. But dream people, who are a few dream bass players you would like to play that thing? And I think I remember a few you said last time, so I'd like to see if it's changed at all. Who are a few dream bass players that you'd still like to play and sign that bass of yours?
Well, I had really wanted Greg with The Offspring to play it, but unfortunately he is no longer with them.
Oh.
Yeah, and Kevin let me sell it the last Warp Tour in Mountain View, California a few years ago. And I guess Greg had just left the band shortly before that. So yeah, I'm getting excited thinking, hey, I'll get Greg to play Self-Esteem on my bass.
Oh,
and then
man.
somebody tells me, yeah, he's not with the band.
Just missed him.
And so at the time I'm there with my bass. I think I got at least one guy to play it. I got the Adolescents bassist to play it there.
Nice.
And yeah, I just, the way I was looking at it then, I was like, I just don't have the interest in getting a guy who didn't write the song to play the bass. And if I could go back, I would have said, I don't fucking care. I want, yeah. And I mean, I didn't even meet him, introduce myself to him, tell him about the campaign.
You should have told about that.
Yeah, if hypothetically even if I didn't have the bass, it couldn't have gotten him to play it. He wasn't interested, whatever. I should have, at the minimal, told them about the campaign. But, I mean, I'm sure there'll be other opportunities. I mean, like I said, the only three bands I'm really a fan of are Anti-Flag, NoFX, and Alkaline Trio. And Dan Andriano with Alkaline Trio is hands down my favorite bassist. He fooled around with it once, but I mean, just strumming, not doing anything for maybe 45 seconds. I'd absolutely love to watch him play a full Alkaline Trio song on it. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't, maybe Mike Dirnt, but there's not anyone else that comes to mind. I mean, I'm pretty narrow with my music. I guess in regards to making this become something bigger, there definitely are people. I mean, I'd love to have Paul McCartney play it.
There you go.
I wish I had a better response to your question.
Oh no, not at all. I like hearing it. I'm bummed too about Dan Andriano because I remember, I think last time we talked, he had noodled around with it but had not played a song on it yet, and I was hoping that had changed. But you still got time. Look we're talking about all the traction you're picking up. I'm sure you will eventually get him to play that bad boy. Is there a song that comes to mind at all, like Alkaline Trio wise? Is there any song that you would specifically like to play, or you just be happy to watch him play, just whatever?
I think off the top of my head, I would go with In Vain.
Ooh, good choice, and that's going. That's like a deep cut too. I like that. It's like I'm a fan kind of pick. That's not like, you know what I mean? It's not like a Stupid Kid or radio or something. You kind of jumped in there. I like that. That'd be very cool to see him play that.
I do prefer. I think that's a very good song, but I do prefer their earlier music. I'd love to. Mark Hoppus once played M&M's during a sound check.
Oh, nice.
Which was definitely appreciated. But that's a man who got me into bass. So I would say the two people that I would really want to play it are Dan and Mark. I would love to see and hear them play it live.
Oh, that'd be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing, man.
But yeah, I mean, it's a long road.
I don't know. Again, you're inching closer and closer. I feel like it's not impossible. Plus, if you had Mark play it once, I'm sure you get to play it again a second time. Plus, it's pretty rad. He played M&M's too. That is for any song to see him play, that's a pretty cool one to see, like a real old school. I guess same thing with Dan. Is there any Blink song that you would specifically like to hear him play, or just whatever on it?
Well, Carousel would be cool.
Oh, that'd be classic.
I mean, I think I'd say probably anything from, the Dude Ranch is the album, out of every single album, that's this album I know the most lyrics to.
Oh, I love that. That's like my favorite Blink record for sure, is Dude Ranch.
Yeah, I think lots of people would say that. And again, blanking on the name of it, it's the sixth song. Watching your house shrink away in my rearview mirror as I drive away.
Waggy. It's Waggy. That is one of my favorite Blink songs. Yeah, that Waggy. That is one of my favorite, dude.
I think I might ask Mark to play that.
Oh, you would have to, because I don't think they play that a lot either. So that would be great to get him to play, because that is legit, dude. We did a top 5 Blink-182 songs episode, I mean, like 2 years ago now on the show, and I don't remember where I placed that, but that was either my second or third favorite Blink song. That is up there as one of the absolute best. I am all about that. That is the one. If you get the chance, you got to ask him to play that one. He doesn't play that enough. That would be really cool to see on there for sure.
I mean, I went to 3 of their shows maybe a few years ago. I can't think of the name of the band who got me in. The first one was in like the Pittsburgh area. And I think I ended up even leaving before Blink played because it was such a far drive and I didn't want to have to get a room anywhere or get home at 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Then I saw him at, what's that big outdoor venue outside of Cleveland?
Oh,
Kevin, the Warped Tour played there a lot.
Oh, Cayuga. Oh, Blossom Music Center.
In Cuyahoga Falls.
Cuyahoga Falls, where it's at. Okay, yeah, that is Blossom. That's a cool venue. I like that one.
Yeah, I really do too. But I saw them. I think I saw them there too. And then it was in Indianapolis where Mark played M&M's on my bass.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're well aware that my bass has lots of signatures on it, and I really regret I did not get Mark to sign it.
Oh, he didn't sign it.
No, it came to my mind after, and I talked to the guy who worked with him, and yeah, he just wouldn't help me out with it, which kind of pissed me off. But yeah, I mean, I know that. Well, fingers crossed, this article just blows the roof off of this campaign. I mean, I think I remember 5 years ago or something when Kevin got Alternative Press to do an article. I thought that would turn into something big, and yeah, that didn't do a damn thing. But
I feel like bass player.
I think Bass Player is a bigger magazine.
Oh, for sure.
But still, I can't. I'm a pessimist, and I can't help but fear that. I mean, maybe one day the editor will just send me a message saying, "Sorry, we decided not to print the article."
Oh, no, I don't feel like it this. But I've seen you post a little bit about it on the Pass the Bass Facebook page, and it seems like it's coming along well. I feel like you're in the clear. Like you shouldn't have to worry about that anymore. I feel like it's coming.
Yeah, but I mean, because some things you're unaware of, like, I mean, and I haven't said anything bad, but I feel like I might be messaging these guys a little too much out of impatience. Oh. I mean, well, and like the guy who, so I guess it was the guy who did the guy who did the interview came across the campaign on some Facebook page, and he reached out to the editor and showed it to him, asking about doing an interview with me, and the editor said that's cool. And yeah, so but then I think the guy who did the interview, I have his email address, and I think he said to send him like some pictures and stuff that could go in the article. I've sent him a few emails and got nothing in response. So, I mean, that makes me a little fearful, but the editor has stayed in touch. Last message was saying it'll be a couple months, which is definitely a lot longer than I want to wait. But I mean, it's so. I mean, who knows? A couple months could be. I don't know when the magazine's released. It could be 3 weeks. It could be 6 weeks.
I think it's monthly. I think it comes out once a month.
No. I mean his
okay.
couple months.
Oh,
I'm
I see what you
saying
mean.
the couple months, or it could be 6 weeks. It could be 9 weeks or something.
Yeah, you never know.
So, I mean, I'm definitely anxious for it. He said he'll send me a few copies of it, which I'm really looking forward to. I mean, a small magazine in Denver did an article about it. Alternative press. And like you said, alternative press is a small thing. Not lots of people know about it. And Bass Player is a worldwide magazine. So that will definitely make more people aware. I imagine assume you've seen posts. Fuel's bassist reached out to me.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, I'm like, well, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to set it up. I can't remember where it is, but they're doing a show in Pennsylvania in maybe a couple months. I think it'd be a little longer than I'd like to drive, but it's definitely the nearest show they have scheduled, or at least scheduled that's posted anywhere. I mean, I think I'd be willing to drive that.
Yeah, for that might be worth it. That might be worth it to do it at a Fuel show, including it's like something different too. You know what I mean? Like you're branching out into like, I feel like other genres and different things where like, you know, people you may get a different crowd from who you got at like Punk and Droplet or some of the other ones. You know, you might broaden your horizons more, which I mean would be great for the campaign.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you ever heard of Incarceration?
The band?
No, it's a 3-day show here. Incarceration.
No, I haven't heard of that.
Did you ever watch the movie Shawshank Redemption?
I have not. I know of the movie, but I've never watched it.
Neither have I. And I guess lots of people say what a great movie it is, but it's just not my kind of movie. So I've never seen it. But I guess it was filmed at 2 different prisons. One was filmed inside and one outside. And this Incarceration is a 3-day tattoo music festival. And it's at one of the locations that the Shawshank Redemption was shot.
Oh, wow.
It's maybe an hour from Columbus.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, it's hard music that I really wouldn't like. But like you said, kind of branching out, making more people aware of this. Kevin Lyman made it during one of these meetings we did. He made it seem like it might be possible to get into that. And I mean, on one hand, I'm kind of disappointed. I'd rather at least have one band I'd like to listen to. But at the same time, if there's no one, then it'll leave me more time at my table to sell merchandise.
Yeah, now that's the way to look at it, dude. Instead of being out there watching the bands you want to see, you can be in full, like, pass the base mode, like full campaign mode. I think that same with Bass Player Magazine. That was the thing I was going to say too earlier about that, where it's like, because it's great that the scene has embraced you. I think that's awesome. You know, Kevin Lyman, No Effects, Alt Press, all that stuff. But yeah, to get even further out, you know, Bass Player Magazine, you're going to get more than the Warped Tour crowd or more than, you know, the punk rock crowd and stuff. You're going to, including your whole campaign is about bass players playing your bass. Guess who reads Bass Player Magazine? Bass players.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like the perfect kind of person you want to know about the
definitely
campaign.
better than alternative press. So I am looking this up, and it says the Fuel show is in Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. I don't think that's
But
terribly far from us over here. I've heard of that. I think it's somewhat near Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't think I'll have my license back by then. So, I mean, the other three it has are Corpus Christi, Texas, Lake Charles, Louisiana, and Dallas, Texas.
Oh, those are a lot further.
Yeah, Jim Thorpe is definitely closer than those, but I think I'll have to wait until the next time they do some shows. Or a guy reached out to me saying that he might be able to help me get into a Circle Jerks show.
Oh,
He said he was reaching out to me on behalf of the Circle Jerks bassist.
Oh, nice.
But then I guess he really wasn't.
Oh.
I guess he's going to be doing something at some shows with the Circle Jerks, but I don't think that their bassist actually took any part in him reaching out to me. Knew nothing about it.
Oh.
But he makes it seem like it would potentially likely be possible to sell at some shows. A show. My sister lives in Seattle, so I'd fly out there and sell at a show of theirs. It's on June 2nd in Seattle. And I was actually surprised. Unfortunately, I noticed this is after their show in Seattle. I wish it would have been before. But maybe I'm going to have to say it's Denver. But the Circle Jerks are playing one of the Punk and Drublic shows.
Oh, I did see that.
So, yeah, it would have been very convenient if they were doing it on Saturday, and I could say, hey, here I am by my bass. I'm promoting this campaign, and, yeah, they'd welcome me to Seattle in 3 weeks. But, unfortunately, the Denver show is after they'll be in Seattle.
Oh, that's a bummer.
But yeah, hopefully this guy who reached out to me can set it up. And even if not, I'm kind of on the fence. I wonder if, like I said last year, they just gave me a vendor wristband, but I was able to have one of the guys from the opening band get me an all access pass. But I'm hoping, since it's the manager for No Effects who's setting this up, I'm not sure if he's actually their manager or their tour manager, but he definitely has some clout. It's who the Mark Melvin, NoFX's guitarist, told me to reach out to this guy to set it up, and I had never been able to get in touch with him until Kevin's golf tournament a month and a half ago. And yeah, he's been very helpful. So I assume / hope that they'll just give me all access when I get there. I mean, I'd be a little surprised, but not completely if they didn't. But they've told me that they'll let me on stage to promote it, which makes me think it'll be more likely. So they don't have to send someone out to come get
Come
me.
find you.
And yeah, and then I mean, I see no reason why they wouldn't. But again, back to my pessimism. Or maybe they do and I lose it and my bass and somebody takes both.
Oh no, dude, let's hope not. I feel like I've gotten some of that even. Like, I do see where you're coming at with some of it, because even just doing, like, radio and podcasts, like, just a lot of, like, people, interviews falling through, someone 10 minutes beforehand saying they can't, driving to a venue to do an interview. I've had a few of those where I drove to a place to interview someone, and they're like, yeah, they're under the weather. They can't do an interview today. Things like that. So I do get where your pessimism comes from, because you wait and wait for some of these things, and after a few of them being disappointments where they fall through or whatever, you do kind of get a little cynical. So I get where your pessimism comes from. I do understand where you're coming from with it.
Yeah, but I mean, one day at a time, and I can't help but be extremely anxious. I think my flight leaves at 3 and a layover in Denver, and then I'll ship out to Sacramento. And so, yeah, I pulled it up. This says the Circle Jerks, NoFX, Pennywise Circle Jerks, Suicide Machines, Adolescents, TSOL, the Dwarves, Bridge City. Looks like this is a bigger show. I've heard of Dwarves, but not really familiar with them.
They're pretty big. All those bands are big punk. There's like all punk legends for sure.
Bridge City Sinners doesn't ring a bell. I mean, so it was at that last Warp Tour that Kevin did coming up on 3 years ago, where the Adolescents bassist played mine, and I had unfortunately read that he passed away, so they must have gotten a
you
new
had Steve
bassist.
Soto. Steve Soto was the one who played. He was the one who passed away. That was the one who played it, or the guy who replaced him played it?
Must have been Steve. He passed away not long ago.
Oh, wow.
He was a pretty. I mean,
he's a legend. That's one to have play your bass, Steve Soto. That is, I mean, the Adolescents themselves, but yeah, Steve Soto, total bass legend for sure.
Yeah. So I'm not even, I bet you, yep, but here's a picture of him. Yeah, he played it at that last Warp Tour. Wonder if, I bet you I introduced myself to the other guys in the band, but he's the only one I know for sure. I probably wouldn't even recognize anyone else, but like I said, making connections, I mean, out of these shows that I've been invited to most in regards to the punk and Droplet, the one I'm looking forward to the most is Sacramento in 2 days. Because obviously NoFX, they're one of the 3 bands I say I'm a fan of, but I'm really looking forward to seeing the guys in um the Bouncing Souls.
Oh, always great
Um,
band.
yeah, they let me. I'm blanking on the name of the venue, but they let me sell at a show in Cleveland. It's the only time I'd ever been there. Um, and yeah, Brian played my bass there. They gave me a couple minutes on stage. I talked to Brian for a minute at that punk and Droplet show I went to in Red Rocks a few years ago, and I still didn't know anything about really what my wristband would get me. They they had the little dining area, and some of the band's dressing rooms were under the stage. Like you just walked onto the stage on the left side, and then there were some stairs to go down to the little dining area and a few dressing rooms and stuff, rooms for employees. But then I saw Brian and the Bouncing Souls. They went to some. I guess her dressing room was in a different location, and I just didn't feel comfortable going back there. So yeah, looking back, I think I wish I had. Brian was definitely a great guy. I mean, the whole band was, and I think that was the only time I'd ever seen them. That must be like 4 years ago now that I saw them. Well, I saw them, I guess, again. And although, some of these shows, looking back, I feel like I'm kind of upset for not listening to any music, especially when it's music that I do like. I mean, I wish I would have listened to uh, the Bouncing Souls at that show, and when that first Flogging Molly show I sold out was at I don't know if it still is. I bet it still is. But at the time, um, coming up on 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, it was the newest venue in um, Denver. And it was definitely beneficial for the merchandise, all that crap. You didn't have to talk over loud music, and it was completely lit. I mean, it was a good location, but you couldn't watch or really hear any of the band, and I didn't. My primary focus was selling merchandise and raising money. Most people tend to stay in focused on the music when the bands are playing, but sometimes there'll still be people walking around looking at merchandise during that. So I didn't want to risk any opportunity of even selling one shirt. And that it was a 2-day show, Flogging Molly and Social Distortion.
Oh, nice.
And I think Social Distortion headlined the first day, and then Flogging Molly did the next day. The first day was, I don't know if there's any validity to this, but it was on Friday the 13th. So people said that had something to do with there being such a big crowd. That Friday the 13th, that was the first time I had ever raised over $1,000 at a show.
Nice.
And I mean, yeah, I definitely my cousin just opened up, like 2 days ago, opened up a passive base bank account which, I mean, that puts a big smile on
That
my
is
face.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's a real deal. That means you're like really, it's like it's a real thing. You know what I mean? When you get into things like that, it means Pass the Base is doing good things. Like you're on the right path, I'd say.
Yeah. He opened it just, I think, on Monday. So 3 days ago.
So it's real recent.
Yeah. I mean, it was a hassle. I set this up as a nonprofit through LegalZoom years ago, and I mean, lots of this stuff just goes over my head. And my cousin just a month ago or something started getting into it. He's definitely a much smarter guy than me, and there's something called an IEN number. You need to open up a bank account with a nonprofit. And like I said, I set it up as a nonprofit through LegalZoom. Me and my cousin did a 3-way call with LegalZoom to get the nonprofit. And they said that there wasn't one. So we sent in a request for one. And then last week I get a letter in the mail from the IRS in Cincinnati saying something about they denied our request for an IEN because there already is one.
Oh, the one you started.
So I'm like, what? I mean, why can't these people who helped me set it up as a nonprofit tell me that there is an IEN? But
I don't think this is on you, dude. It sounds like these people don't know what they're doing. The legal people.
Yeah, but they're third party people.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's not. Yeah, they're third party. They don't have all the everything going on. But now it's officially got a bank account. I'll be getting this debit card hopefully soon, and that'll just make things so much easier. I'll be able to make deposits and make purchases for the merchandise without having to have somebody else pay for it and trips and then have to reimburse them. My uncle, he bought me one of those square readers. I had never had it. He went with me to the punk rock bowling, and I guess he brought one of his own, but then he actually sent me one. So with this, up until that, actually some bands have been pretty generous, and they've let me have cards run through their account and then give me cash. Some bands wouldn't, some bands would, which I was absolutely grateful for. I mean, I've definitely missed out on sales, not being able to take a card.
Oh, yeah.
I know there have been times people have said I'd love to buy a shirt, but I don't have cash. So with this, I think it'll definitely be beneficial. Definitely won't be a bad thing unless I potentially lose it. But I think that'll definitely it'll be fun being able to I mean, when I get this card and it says Pass the Base on it, that'll be a freaking ear-to-ear smile.
Oh, that is going to be awesome, dude. That is, I am like happy for you. Like I'm not even the guy running the campaign, and I'm stoked to hear all the awesome things coming your way. Watch, it'll get there, and then like the next day, you're waiting for like Bass Player Magazine. You'll get that credit card, and then the next day, you'll see Pass the Base on front of Bass Player Magazine. I'm telling you, dude, you got a good 2022's already been good. I feel like for Pass the Base, I feel like you are going to be ending very, very strong, and we're not even done with the year. We're only in May. So I mean, as we close this out now, I mean, the big thing, everyone's been listening to this. They know about Pass the Base campaign now. the big thing, where do people go now online? Where do we find you online? Can people donate to the campaign online? Like all that good stuff. You want to direct people to where they go now that they've heard you talk about Pass the Base?
So my cousin is going to help me set up an official Pass the Base website. For now, I really only have info about it on Facebook. There is an Instagram page. If you go on to Pass the Base on Facebook, do a little searching, scrolling, you will find links to some shirts that are available through the Brain Injury Association of America. They have been running pretty darn low. The employee I'm in touch with the most there told me that they did just place a new order. So hopefully they'll be getting that. It'll be available in less than a week. If you go, there is a GoFundMe link to make any donations. Obviously, anyone out there who hears this, just spreading the word is greatly appreciated. The more people who know, the better. If you happen to be a bassist, shoot me a message. I'd love to add your name. Even though I'm getting the help from these great people, I still feel like when the day's over, it's pretty much a one-man campaign. I'm doing 99% of the legwork, and I would like to turn it into something more of a team effort. But it's still pretty much all of these shows, it's just been me working the merchandise table. At that Punk Rock Bowling in Vegas, my uncle went with me, and that was extremely beneficial. I could go to the bathroom or go and get something to eat, and he would still be there to sell some shirts or take some donations. So I want to, Danny, who's helping me out in Fort Collins, has said something about getting me some help at some shows there. She's trying to coordinate setting something up, like working. We've done 2 Zoom meetings with the vice president of the Brain Injury Association of America, and we're going to see if we could somehow find someone that works with them to help me when possible. And have you at the Wonderstruck in Cleveland in July, I think my nephew's going to go with me, and he could certainly help me out with that. And my sister and brother-in-law are going to go, so they'll definitely be more focused on the music, but I'm sure if they'll come and check on me, maybe bring me something to eat and just give me some time and potentially sell something, get a donation while I go to the restroom or something. Any help's better than none.
Yeah. Nice little, having a team behind you. I can't blame you. That totally makes sense. And, as you keep going, I'm sure it will be. It is very. Lots of people helping you along the way, but it is very much a Dylan Flynn thing. Which again, like why I want to stress, like help out. Like if you were interested in this campaign, even if you're not at a show, I will. If you're listening to the podcast, I'll put links to all the stuff in the podcast thing. So if you're listening to this on the podcast right now, you can go right under. You'll see the Facebook link, see the places for the shirts and all that. And the radio show and all that too. You've heard where to go, and I'll bring it up again before the end of the episode and all that. But you've done a ton yourself, it's great to see you doing something like this. Great to see someone out there just really making a difference. You are really making a difference. And, I mean, I think when you take a step back and see all you've done in the past years, you put it all together, I think you kind of realize it more and more. But I think you got some really good stuff coming. So, I mean, as we close this, is there anything else? Have we missed anything? Is there anything else you want to say before we're done with the episode?
I want to tell all you fine gentlemen out there who hear this, if you wear one of these shirts, you'll be on the cover of GQ. You'll be beating women off with wiffle ball bats. You don't want to hurt them. You just want to deter them.
You're just trying to get around in your day.
To you fine gals, if you wear one of these, you'll be walking runways in Paris and Milan. He'll figure Klein and Lauren are filing for bankruptcy because of these shirts.
Oh my God. I mean, you almost can't afford not to buy a Passive Bass shirt. I mean, look at your life will change for the better by wearing one of these, I think is what you're saying. You will become that cooler and better of a person wearing a Passive Bass shirt.
Absolutely.
I can attest to it. I bought my shirt 5 years ago, and I have to prepare myself every time I wear it because I know what is coming if I wear that Passive Bass shirt.
We've got new designs since 5 years ago, so we should get you into one of those.
I'm gonna have to go purchase one. There are new designs, aren't there?
In this order that the Brain Injury Association of America just placed, they'll have the newest design available online for the first time. Which, nice. Yeah, it's the one with the two bass facing each other, and I think two bases between them.
Oh, nice.
Which is possibly my favorite design, except for the silhouette in the boat.
I don't know if I've seen the silhouette in the boat one.
Yeah, there's when I went on the Flogging Molly cruise, I just made a post. Anybody got a concept for a design to sell on a cruise? Somebody came back a silhouette of a person in a boat, and they catch your bass guitar.
Oh, that is awesome.
Yeah, that is hands down my favorite design. But I mean, still, so it had a little something to do more cruise related than anything else.
Makes sense.
Still, it's a small fishing boat. It's not a cruise ship. But yeah, I mean, that's a damn great design.
That really is.
But I really, really like this new one with the two bass facing each other. I mean, and my cousin, he reached out to me yesterday saying that we need to get some new designs, which, I mean, I don't think really needs to be worried about for now. I think this is actually I don't think I might have had it at the golf tournament in March. If it's not the first event, it'll be the first concert I've had it at. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Nice. And then maybe in a few months I'll venture out to some artist or anyone else who could assist in making a new design, but I don't think that's a big problem for now. I don't think I have anything else scheduled for May, so there is I'm gonna send Kevin a text or give him a call. There's a 3-day show here in Columbus in like 10 days or something, and I was hoping Kevin could help me out with it. I'll reach out to him again. I kind of feel like I might he might get a little annoyed with me hassling him. I mean, I hate asking for favors when I don't do anything in return, but I mean, he definitely seems to have no problem appreciate helping out. When I was at the tournament in March, he told me I'm welcome every year, which couldn't help but put a smile on my face.
No, that is awesome. That is so nice
Yeah.
of him.
Well, and there were, I don't know how many there were, but there was at least one guy that there back in March that I met last year, and that guy was great. I mean, this is a tournament for like some kind of wealthy people, so I'm having people buy a $25 shirt and giving me letting me keep $75. I'm like,
Nice.
okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a place you want to be for donations.
Yeah. through the square, they're buying a shirt for $100. I'm like, well,
Wow.
that's all right.
That is awesome. That is really cool, though.
Up until the, I think, I mean, I would say actually the event I raised the most money at was his tournament. I think it was like, I got, I think $40 from a guy on the return flight, and I think it ended up being over $1,400, which it cost me $900 to travel. So a $500 profit's a decent profit, especially when you look at last year, and I think I lost $300. So that's an $800 difference. That's definitely a big improvement.
No, you're going the right way. I mean, again, like, fingers crossed for you, dude. I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for the Pass the Base campaign. You know, I'm happy to have you on here. I'm happy to talk about it and get people out there to to whether they're going to help you out online or even just be on the lookout, like at a music festival. Like, there's a chance Dylan Flynn is going to be selling you a shirt this summer. Whatever music festival you're going to, even if you're listening to Power Chord Hour, because if you're listening to this show, you go to Punk and Droplet, you go to Punk Rock Bowling, you went to Warped Tour, you went to all those things. Be on the lookout. Dylan is there. Dylan wants to sell you a shirt and tell you about the campaign. 100%. He's someone you want to meet. I've met him after a show. He's the person you want to meet. He's the person you want to buy a T-shirt from and learn more information on Pass the Base from. So, Dylan, I mean, this has been awesome. I love having you on. It's not going to take us 5 years again. We will have you on again, and there's not going to be a 5-year lapse. I promise that.
It'll be every week.
That's right. We already discussed this. Yeah, so everyone knows. I mean, there's no more guests on this show. It's just Dylan is the guest every week. This is the show now. I hope you enjoy this. This is the show every week. Just Anthony and Dylan just talking past the base. But
well, I definitely would love to talk as soon as possible and talk about how things went this weekend in Sacramento.
Yeah, we get a little update on everything for sure. And again, it never hurts to pass the base, to pass the information on.
Well, it never hurts to pass the base either.
That's true. You know, you're right. It's never bad to pass information, and it's definitely never bad to pass the base. Oh, man. So with that, if you were listening to the Power Chord Hour podcast, you have hit the end of this episode. I want to thank Dylan again for for talking to us. And if you're listening to the radio show, we got a little longer, so we'll play some music. And Dylan, I think you have influenced the first song. And I mean, if you have a different opinion on one, you are the guest and you can pick the song. But if you're listening to the radio show, should we play Blink-182's Waggy now? Should we go into Waggy, you think, Dylan, or do you have a different choice?
No, that's an amazing, amazing song. Good choice.
All right, beautiful. This is Blink-182 with Waggy right here on the Power Chord Hour. Unless you're listening to the podcast, then you don't hear that. Then it's just sayonara. Thanks for listening. But if you're listening to the radio show, Here's Blink-182 with Waggy.